Good morning, everyone, and shalom. My name is Sophie from JMDedu. So it's really a great pleasure to be here. JMDedu is a leading media platform that provides information, resources, and community platform for EdTech and education innovations in China. And first of all, actually, before the panel, I would really love to say thank you to Yaki to organize this really wonderful summit. And it provides us with this great opportunity to talk with so many passionate and inspiring EdTech entrepreneurs in Israel. And we also have been here for like a week. So Yaki organized this wonderful delegation and agenda for us to talk with schools, educators, entrepreneurs. It's really been a very great journey for us. So thank you very much, Yaki. So we would really hope that in this half an hour to provide you with some insights about China. But of course, half an hour is really a little time. So we invite you to come to China as we come to Israel. So we'll be your contacts there. And then feel free to contact us and Yaki to organize a trip to China and to continue this conversation. Okay, so let's get into our panel. So as we are in the topic of China education, so I want to actually throw a question to the audience. So do you know how many K-12 students are there in China? Give a guess. Give a guess. What? 150 million. Other guesses? What, 63? 163? So it's actually more than 200 million K-12 students in China and more than 260 million K-16 students in China. So it's a really big market, so no need to stress, but it's also very unique and mysterious. And so that's why we bring to you this wonderful panelist. So let's have them introduce themselves first so that we can get a better idea of what their background. So maybe Alex, you would like to introduce yourself first and maybe your company. And as we're talking about China-Israel business partnerships, so maybe any cross-border partnership and business that you've been involved with in the past. Yeah.
Right, thank you, Sophie. Hello again. Nice to see you back here in the morning on the second day. So if you were here yesterday, I've already introduced myself and the company, but I'll make it brief and also touch on our international partnership already established in the past. So ATA in brief is an professional assessment services company. We produce our own assessment technology and we serve the China market. So we are now the biggest assessment company in China, except for the government, because government are mostly very keen to keep assessment close to themselves. We are the first one that opened up that market. We created this outsourcing examination or assessment market since '99. So because of that role, ATA has been helping two things. One, to export, and another one is to import anything related to assessment. Let's talk a little bit about exporting, because our exam needs are very special and very deep into understanding a student or a candidate's ability and profile. So we created a lot of assessment tools and like simulations and other things that might not be well used or developed in other countries. So in 2003, we actually won a global contract for providing simulation technology to a small company called Microsoft. And that contract lasts for 10 years until they are standing on their feet, develop their own simulation technology for their global certification program. This is one thing. And also, we export our test delivery platform because there are high-stick tests which are very sticking to the physical location, and is very keen to get authentication and everything. So they would not like to see online, anytime, anywhere kind of testing mode. But we just mix the two together and make it a very secure but very flexible in location solution called the MTS, Mobile Testing System, which now helping Cambridge around the world in 33 countries deploying their examination for junior English tests. So this is the kind of things that we do internationally, just to cut the time short.
Thank you. So, Yong from Qtone.
Yeah. For your information, I am the guy wearing the suits yesterday, so maybe you can remember what I said yesterday, presented. So Qtone is like a 13 years company, so we were doing the most important thing in China in the last 10 years is push a communication tool between parents and the students. First of all, it was based on short message, SMS. Currently, it's converted to the new model, which is combined in the WeChat. You know, WeChat is the most popular, like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. It's very popular in China. So based on this kind of work with the public schools, like I said yesterday, there are 260,000 schools in China. 95% of them, maybe more than this 95% are the public schools. So if you go to the public schools, it's very hard for a sales guy to enter into the school because the school guard will stop you outside. So we are very lucky because we provide the information system, communication between parents and the teachers. So we get the permission to enter into the school. Based on this kind of service, we actually have 1,600 field guy. So we call them the CIO. They actually go to the school and talking with the school principal, persuade them to buy our following products like learning management system, student information system, like the scheduling software for the curriculum, blah, blah. So actually we have a long list. Some of them were invented and made by us. Some of were provided by our partners. So that's why we come to Israel. We are looking for the partners who can also provide this kind of SaaS product to the public schools. So we may add you into the list. Let's go to make money together. Because in China, actually the public schools, like 10 years ago, we cannot charge any money from school because they were poor. Majority of the money was put on the benefits, wages of the teachers. But from last year, we think it's a good time to start this business. First of all, it's because the promise from the government to put a lot of money into the education. Second is anti-corruption, make them realize that the money must be used well. So the Education Bureau have the new criteria, like they will measure the percentage of each SaaS product by the teacher. This is a very strong indicator. If the principal used the money, but actually the product was not used next year, the principal is very hard for him to apply for the new budget for this maintenance. So it's a good thing is bad product cannot survive during this situation. The best product will survive. So it's a good time for the good product to make money in China now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm coming.
Yeah. It's really a good point about public school system reform like in China. And as a lot of the Israeli companies I've been talking to are searching for like going into Chinese school strategy. So we will go back on this later. And Yaki, do you need an introduction to the audience? No?
I hope that I don't need an introduction. I just think that maybe the one thing that I want to reflect of what you said right now is that the numbers that you mentioned are so much beyond the things that we can imagine that, you know, it will be interesting how we can actually cooperate.
Yes, exactly. And actually, the most questions that I've been asked yesterday is how do you enter China, right? So this is actually the core question that we're discussing in this panel. But I've also recalled what yesterday's keynote was saying that a one-year child is asking the what question, and the 3-year-old child is asking the why question. And the 10 years old is asking the how question. And as we are a bunch of adults who are more fixed-minded than the 10 years old, so it's okay for us to ask how questions. But still, we have to answer the what questions before the how. So actually, I want Yong and Alex to share with us a little bit about the Chinese market that you think that is different from Israeli education market and US education market that our Israeli friends needs to know before they enter into the Chinese market.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, the benefit of this trip is before this conference, I was brought to different schools and different companies related to education for the last 5 days before we were sitting here. And thank you to Yaki and Sophie. I do see a lot of differences, and the differences is mainly, I could summarize it in a very bold and simple way, that in China, we are exam-oriented education system. Well, sounds bad, but this is the only way that we could actually screen students from millions, as Sophie mentioned the number, 200 million. So who should get a better resources to continue their study? Who could get to a better job? Who to get a better job? So all these need screening. And in some way, the most effective way of doing that is to take an exam, right? So that becomes like a vicious cycle where students and parents are aiming to get higher score, to get better resources and climb up the social ladder. And that's good in a way for motivation, but it's also bad that you forgot what education is about. So in here, I see a very different picture. In here, I see a lot of passionate, enthusiastic educator who aim for what students really need and design a curriculum and embed innovation, entrepreneurship, and problem solving, all these into very young education system, which maybe there are many good reasons for that. I don't know. It's only a few days that I've been here, but that's at least the obvious difference that I can see.
Yeah, and actually, as we were talking, these are this 6, 7, 8, 9 is actually what the national college entrance exam is taking place in China. So 9 million students are taking the same tests that will decide whether they're going to universities or not. Just now, yeah. So how about Yong? What do you think of the features of Chinese education system that that companies want to enter into China needs to know?
I think it's the same in the US or in the Israel. There are two different ways for you to do the online education of K-12. One is you go to schools. This is a kind of 2B and 2C model. First of all, you serve the school by the utilization of the teacher and the students, then you get the data. And secondly, you can use this kind of service directly charge the students and the parents. So this is one model, 2B, 2C, to the school and to the students. The second model is directly you can sell the product through the app store to the students or parents directly. So these two kind of model is also happening in China at the same time. And the good thing for the 2C model, directly to the students model, is that actually you can get money at the beginning. And there are very big after-school children market. Like I said yesterday, there are $80 billion per year for the parents to spend money after school for the children's service. So if you do this kind of business, the good news is you are very near to the money. You are very near to the monetization. The bad news is there are very fierce competition. You will meet the most fierce competition more than Israel, more than US, because in China, every company, when they start up, they will think this way is the best way. And there are some, we can call it a very big company, they already raised a large money to do like online tutoring service, to do the question bank service online. There's another model, 2B, 2C. 2B, 2C model is a slow model. I call it is a hardest model. You have to persuade each school to use your product, and the teachers' profile, the principal's profile, they are not that high-tech person. So it may take you a long time for the persuasion. But if you persuade this school, then you can get like 1,000 at least students into your product usage. So the good news is it's like take a fight, school by school. Gradually you can eat the whole market. And by this way, actually, it's very stable for you. Because once a school uses this, you get the student to use your product, all the data will be kept, and the school are reluctant to change to another software because all the data is on the SaaS. You must own the data. This is a secret. If you let the data store in the school, first of all, this data will disappear at some time due to the machine craft, failure. So you have to make sure the data is on the SaaS. Then you can utilize the data. So utilize the data to provide unique service to the students is the next move you can make, but it will take longer time for you to monetization. So this is a different model. First of all, you have to choose a way you can go. You cannot go both ways. There's no way to do both together. So that's the first decision you have to make.
Yes, exactly. It's very interesting because Alex is sharing us about the what is like at the core of the education system, and Yong is sharing us with the business model that you would love to have in China because it's actually different. How about Yaki? What strikes you most about the differences? And because I think you are at a better position to answering these questions as you know Israeli market better and you know Israeli EdTech products better.
Well, I had the pleasure also to escort your previous delegation. So in total, we already hosted in Israel almost 50 wonderful people from China for a period of over 20 days in general. And I also had the opportunity to come over to Beijing. And I think that the way that I see it, before we go to the how, I fully agree with you, we need to, first of all, bridge the cultures. I think that in many ways we are in Israel, maybe we are using the same argument, but to prove a different point, then you're maybe using the same data, but your point of view is you take the same data, but your conclusion is totally going to a different direction. So sometimes even if we agree on the data, maybe we do not agree on the conclusion. And I think we shared already in conversation some of the things that we struck as difference. So I think that, if I have a vision, is that we need to go to find a way to bridge the cultures. And this is why it was very important now that you had that opportunity to go to the schools. This is why, in November we want to take the delegation to China. We want to include in this delegation not only business people, but also people that are coming from colleges and teacher colleges, because without understanding the numbers, and I sorry that I repeat this again, but for me, I know what's happening in Israel. We go and we do a test in, let's say, 3 schools, so we have about 200 users. I'm not so sure that if I come to you with a product that was only tested on 200 or 2,000 students, you will feel comfortable to share it with this big number of CIOs. So it's not only the issue of order of magnitudes, it's also a thing that maybe to bridge the culture, and maybe, who knows, maybe you can have in this wonderful EdTech building in Beijing, maybe we can have half a floor dedicated to Israeli EdTech, I don't know, but maybe this could be something that can bridge the culture gap.
Yes, exactly. Let's make that happen. So actually, Yaki was just mentioning that there is this EdTech building in Beijing that really impressed him. That's how EdTech is like booming. The symbol of EdTech is booming in China. So let's move a little bit on that. So what are the popular products look like in China? Popular EdTech products look like in China? Maybe Yong, you want to answer this question?
Currently, actually, in the last 3 years, there are a lot of startups was building on the EdTech area. So some of them already disappeared. So so a few companies, they already come out from this year. This year is a quite important year because from this year and the next year, first half year, you will see there are some companies, they are on the faster growth track because one important obstacle is already not exist now, is the online payment. In China now, you can easily to pay anything through the mobile phone, either by WeChat or by the Alipay. So this obstacle already disappeared. So that's why, first of all, answer Sophie's question is online tutoring. On the real-time online tutoring, it will become more and more popular, and a lot of companies enter into this area because it's very near to the monetization. And second one is in the K-12 field, all of the data is actually important based on the question bank. So if the question bank can be well used, the data can get, then based on the data you can do the real adaptive learning. If the question bank is not good, all the students didn't really put the right data, then it's useless for the blah blah adaptive learning. So you must make sure the student, because in the K-12 field, we have some online question bank product, but actually students push it randomly, then they check the answer after they input the data. Then you get the wrong data. Based on this wrong data, whatever technology behind that, you will push out the wrong answer to them, or the wrong questions to them. So online question bank APP will become larger and larger, but you have to get the right input from the students. This is the second. And the third one is you will see the public schools will use more and more learning management system, and also the communication tool, like we did is this part, LMS plus the communication tool between parents and the school, because parents and the school's communication is always the most important thing for each parent and for each student. If you make me to make a guess for the next product, I think it's the real good content. Because currently in China, not so many people are really put their heart or put the money to do the better high quality content. Because this content cannot monetization in China now. But with the trend I said before, the good content will get monetization very soon. So the good content will be the third part, will make money and will become popular later. So yeah.
Exactly, thank you. Actually, I want to make a comment on the third point that you're saying. It is also a difference between the Chinese education, maybe with other like US or Israeli, that there's like 4 stakeholders, like parents, students, teachers, and the schools. Like in more Western cultures, like students is in the center, and then it's maybe the teacher and the schools, and then it's like parents is like really outside, not so involved in learning. But in China, it's totally different. Parents are like the most important influencers. So these 4 parts are really major roles in China, and all the products actually is based around certain needs of one certain audience, or the relations or the communications between them. Yeah, and actually I want to ask Alex, the next question is actually, so what are you seeing is missing in the Chinese market that Israeli EdTech products would have a very good market fit, and or just to like, what bring you here? What brought you here? What are you looking for here?
Yeah, I've been doing international business for my company for a long time, and as I haven't finished my introduction, besides exporting is more on the importing. The importing part, which is what I'm doing now, I'm hoping to accomplish, is to find the right technology partner, because we don't think that one company could actually create everything. So especially in the world of like such a new area that everyone is new to this. So if you've got something that we're looking for, we're happy to work together. That's number one. Number two is content. It might sound weird, because am I going to import some Israeli curriculum? Maybe not. But if you guys already created like language learning content that helps second language learning, I think we're in the same boat. I don't really want to recreate something that has been done. So this is two typical examples that I'm looking for.
Exactly. So then I think we have like a very few times, so I'd like to jump to the how questions a little bit. So actually, Yaki has traveled to Beijing and also helped with Israeli companies to connect with Chinese investors and distributors. So how was this process, and what did you learn from this process about the Israeli-China business relationship?
I think that we already do this for 6 months, and I think that I'm surprised by the openness, I must admit. It's so good that we know that we can move very quickly on several processes. I know that there have been a lot of Israeli companies that complained that they tried to penetrate the Chinese market for the last couple of years, very unsuccessfully, I might say. So far, I find the process very professional. Thank you very much for that. We also, and I think that maybe we find a way to do it with the right, I would say, modesty. I mean, we are not trying to say, okay, we have wonderful thing, you must use it. I think that if you really find a way to do it in I would say, a modest way, in a responsible way, I think that it is possible. I think that maybe the challenge is how to create the structures that can support it, because I think that it's not only to take something off the shelf and bring it over there. So I know that it takes a lot of housekeeping, so maybe that's maybe a time to thank Yaron, that is doing wonderful job in making this day-to-day maintenance, also for the people in JMD. And I think maybe this time I would like to suggest maybe if there's some questions from the audience, because I'm talking too much and I want them to speak as well.
Yes,
thank you.
That's a very good idea. Shall we have, does the audience have the questions? Then we will give the mic to you. Where? Yes. Can we help with the mic?
Good morning. Could you give an example of one or two Israeli companies that already had penetrated the Chinese market? Could you give examples? Do you know?
I do know one. I think they are here also. It's a company called EduSoft. But they are no longer a purely Israeli company. They were bought by ETS 3-4 years ago. But when I first knew them, they're an Israeli company, and they still do operate in Israel. But besides China, they operate everywhere in the world because of ETS. They brought them to different regions. But China is one place that is quite promising for them.
And because of, I would say, some obvious reasons, I don't want to mention the names that we are already working right now because that's not something that we can publish to the audience. So
Okay, sorry about that.
For the, no. Yes, that's excellent. But for the things that we have right now in the pipeline, we cannot. We are not in the liberty to discuss at this point. So sorry.
Hi, good morning as well. I'd like to know a bit more about private school in China. If you have any information about maybe international schools where students pay for their studying. Are there any private schools? Is it a good market? Thanks.
First of all, the more and more international schools are built now in China. A lot of money are put on this area because more and more. Give you a number is that 500,000 students are studying abroad each year in China, and this percentage growth is around 15% per year, growing very fast. So that's why the international schools are needed in China. There's money here, and but the bad news is that these international schools' quality or the standard very verified. There's a very high standard, low standard. So it's a good time we introduce the best quality or the chain service from abroad. I know there's a big chain like international schools. They are buying the international school brand and management system from UK. Because UK, there are a lot of good deals. So this is the right time to do this. It's booming now.
Okay, Yeah, so I'm sorry that there's a limited time, but our delegation will be here for another hour. So if you want to talk to us, we are just beside this hall, and we bring also some materials on the Chinese, like reports on Chinese market. So if you want to take one, just help yourself. Okay, thank you very much.